Hey guys, today's video is going to be a little bit different. I wanted to go through a process with you guys that should help you to get started, whether or not you are messing around with side hustles, if you're running your own business or trying to break six figures, if you're in sales and marketing, or you're just really trying to level up your business game. When it comes to making repeatable, sustainable revenue or income outside of a W-2 position, the most important thing is actually understanding your number one activity. Now, not all actions that you can take are created equal. There's a statistical rule called the Pareto Principle, which is the observation that although there are many causes for any observed phenomenon, it is often the case that a small subset of those causes are responsible for most of the observation. So what does that mean? That means that a majority of the results are affected by a vital few of the causes. So here's some examples to kind of illustrate this. 80% of all the errors and crashes in Windows and Office are caused by 20% of the entire pool of all of the bugs detected. Another example is 20% of a plant contains 80% of the fruit. 80% of a company's profits comes from 20% of the customers. 20% of the effort put in on a project will yield 80% of the project's results. And 20% of the employees in a company produce 80% of a company's results. So understanding that most of your results financially will come from a small subset of the activities that you work on makes it extremely important for you to identify what those things are and then make your calendar put those things first and at a much higher frequency. So when I began working in the agency space, so for sales and marketing, we do sales enablement and outbound marketing for different companies and agencies. We actually kept getting stuck right around the $40,000 to $50,000 per month in revenue, and I simply could not move beyond it, no matter what I did or how many sales we had as a company, because we were actually losing customers at the same rate that we were acquiring them. We did an analysis and found that 80% of all of our actual profit, so not the revenue, the profit actually came from serving only two of those customers. So to really explain what I mean, we had customers that were worth between $3,000 to $5,000 per month. Now, those customers typically would only stay with us for 2 to 3 months, meaning that if we were doing setup and onboarding, we did customer success calls, we did customer service work, we built projects for the companies. That would actually cost us almost as much as we were charging the customer, meaning we had smaller profit margins. If they had stayed with us for a year or two or longer, it would have been more profitable for us because there's a lot of upfront operational expenses as far as getting them set up and getting them running. But because they were leaving us, all of those operational expenses that we were investing were basically lost once they left. So we'd do a bunch of upfront work and get to a place where we were not profiting from the customers that we did all that work for. So our two immediate avenues for making more profit per customer were to extend the lifespan of the customer, meaning put together systems and processes that would increase our likelihood that we would extend the customer's lifespan, which would have had an immediate impact on our operational budget because we simply did not have the infrastructure in place to over-deliver on our services for so many customers without hiring and training 2 to 3 times as much staff and developing SOPs and training regimens and all sorts of things. So the other avenue was simply to let all of our smaller customers leave and refocus our sales and marketing on finding more customers who looked like our ideal customers. So they have the same avatar, meaning that they were the same type of person, the same type of company that we knew that they'd be able to pay their bill. So the ideal customer, our avatar, were worth between $12,000 to $15,000 per month in recurring revenue. They were signing longer term contracts, meaning we were able to have more stable monthly recurring revenue than before, and we could then hire and scale more effectively. Now, there was risk associated with doing this change because we now had a less diversified pool of revenue sources, meaning that if we are making 50% of our revenue from one customer and 50% from the other, if we lost one customer, we would lose 50% of our income. This also lowered our overall operational expenses to deliver services at a much higher level, meaning that we had more time to serve better customers who paid more money. They were happier with the results and more likely to help us by giving us case studies and staying with us long term. So we went from doing a higher volume approach as far as services went to building better relationships with people who could benefit from what we did more. In terms of monthly revenue, we had to take a major step backwards in order to restructure, and I had to have a lot of really difficult conversations with our staff because we simply couldn't keep all of them during the transition. That was difficult, but that did actually open the doors for us to begin over-delivering on our services and our promises to our clients. Our immediate problem went from having to juggle the needs of 80% of our customers to handling the service and delivery for 20%. And now we had to learn how to begin acquiring more customers that matched the profile of the ones that we both liked and we were better able to serve. What was really interesting about changing our focus was that the more expensive our price of our service, the easier the actual sales conversations were. It was less haggling, less dealing with people complaining about what they were getting and how much they were spending. There was some give and take, meaning that we were taking fewer meetings overall. We were stricter in who we qualified and who we talked to, but those meetings were worth much more than they were before. This also meant that our sales cycle, or our time from prospect to closing deals, did extend outward by several weeks, so it took longer to close the deals. So the most difficult part of the transition was caused by the lull in revenue, meaning during our restructuring, we stopped receiving as much revenue, and we had a lot of time on our hands to both improve our processes with our existing customers, as well as having more time to do the sales process. Personally, I say this is the most financially difficult position I had ever put myself in, because paying for the business expenses began to exceed my personal income, meaning I was taking a big hit for several weeks. I was living off of savings and credit before we saw deals begin to close. So if I was teaching somebody else how to do the same thing, I would try to catch them as early in their process as possible so that they're not having to face the same losses by simply structuring things correctly at the beginning of their journey rather than in the middle. The result of the change was that I went from working 90 hours per week and doing like literally everything in the company to make things work for these customers and making around $40,000 to $50,000 in revenue, of which we were profiting around $16,000 per month, which was then split between our partners, to working with a few vital customers taking about 15 hours per week to deliver better results to the customer, making $55,000 in revenue, which was $38,000 profit, that was then split between the partners. So that means we actually went from doing the same amount of work for 15 different customers down to 4. Our results for those customers tripled, meaning they were much happier with us, they were getting better results, and our total profit went up 235%. What we actually do for our sales and marketing did not functionally change, aside from how we screened our customers before deciding who to work with, and our operations actually became less work overall because we had a lower percentage of our time spent on handling customer onboarding, customer setups, new projects, customer complaints, technical issues, billing issues, and things like that. Our revenue per customer went from $3,000 monthly to just shy of $13,500 monthly in a matter of 13 weeks. Not to mention that the quality of my life dramatically improved because I was not juggling so many things all the time. To really boil things down to the too long didn't read version, we did the same kind of work for all of our customers. The only thing that changed was who they were. This more than doubled our profit while dramatically changing my quality of life for the better. So whether you're doing a side hustle, running your own business or agency, whether you're wanting to start your own business or doing sales for a company, you can apply the same principle to your own work and begin targeting higher yield customers with actually less effort. They say work smarter, not harder. I personally believe that's wrong. You should work harder while working smarter to get way further than your competition. And this is how people actually get to a place of financial freedom, because it creates disproportionate results. If you'd like to learn more about how to take your existing skill set and make lots and lots of money with it rather than whatever it is you're getting paid at your job, like the video, subscribe, comment. All right, later.